I am black, but I am handsome. There are numerous other references speaking on the blackness and African heritage of those in the lineage of Jesus. Let's have a look at it even more. It would certainly surprise you. Trust me. It's all throughout the Bible. The real Jews are people of color, the Israelites. But that's not all. This goes all the way up to the stars of the heavens and the
Family, this is talking about the lineage of the Israelites. We are the true Israelites. And they confirming and proving what the Bible states, that they were black.
Could this not mean that even God is black? Let's not forget, too, that when Jesus fled persecution, he hid in Egypt among black-skinned Africans. What this means when testing the white Jesus myth is looking plainly at the available evidence that Jesus, most certainly, did not look of Northern European descent. Moving on, his cultural heritage also portrays him as a black man. Jesus was born in Bethlehem, Palestine, in the Roman province of Judea, a strategic crossroads in the Middle East, connecting Europe, Asia, and Africa around 4 BC. The region's inhabitants were predominantly African, Semitic, and Middle Eastern, with roots tracing back to ancient Cushites from Ethiopia, Canaanites from the Levant, Philistines from the Eastern Mediterranean, and Aramaic-speaking peoples from Mesopotamia. These groups intermingled, shaping the architectural, artistic, and linguistic heritage of the region. This cultural melting pot was characterized by diverse influences from Africa, the Middle East, and the Mediterranean, forging a unique identity that reflected the complex history and geography of the area. The term Middle East wasn't coined until the 1850s after the creation of the Suez Canal by the British, long after the lifetime of Jesus. Naturally, the appearance and characteristics of the people from Palestine at the time reflected the region of the world in which they lived. Beyond the geographical reality of the Holy Land in the time of Jesus, there is also an abundance of evidence in the Bible itself, reflecting the fact that Jesus did not have classic European features, as modern-day depictions like to indicate, but was in fact a dark-skinned man with hair like wool. Jesus, being a Jew, likely inherited common Semitic traits from his parents, as inscripted in Hebrews 7:14, which reads, "For it is obvious that our Lord sprang from the tribe of Judah." And, as for the word about the tribe of Judah, this brings us something more from Hollywood, which also brings us further closer to the clarity that Hollywood has always known that Jesus was black.
We know the devil, and he did. I will you get that black nigger out here. By the Lord, tribe of Israel, nigger, back on!
I am not promoting violence. This is just part of the story.
Tribes of Israel were black. The lost tribes of Israel were black.
It's only by the grace of God that any of these people will reach their as yet unknown destinations alive. Or maybe it's his will that they don't. So, Lieutenant, why are you venturing into those forsaken regions? What do you know about a man named Shaka? Does that answer your question, Lieutenant? The Masani tribe, Humus, Jubis, Munus, Yunguanis, countless others, the banished of Southeast Africa, fleeing Shaka's spears, going straight into the arms of the white slave traders and the British troops on the walls of the Cape Colony. In a way, Lieutenant, They are the ultimate victims of recent history. If you'll favor my comparison, they are the wandering Jews of Africa. Fleeing the Pharaoh Shaka, they are the wandering Jews of Africa. Fleeing the Pharaoh Shaka, they are the wandering Jews of Africa. Fleeing the Pharaoh Shaka into the Babylonian captivity of slavery.
Going forward, it is unlikely that the features of Jesus were especially distinctive, since on one occasion, he was able to travel in secret from Galilee to Jerusalem without being recognized. This was written in John chapter 7, verses 10 and 11, and it read this: "But afterward, when his brothers had gone up to the feast, he went up also, not publicly, but by himself quietly, and as if he did not wish to be observed. Therefore the Jews kept looking for him at the feast, and asking, 'Where can he be? Where is that fellow?'" Another instance was when Judas Iscariot had to identify Jesus to the armed crowd that arrested him in Matthew 26, verses 47 to 49. Despite all this evidence, Hollywood still continues to produce the majority of its movies, casting Jesus as a white man, decade after decade. At the same time, Hollywood stands accused of readily profiting from films portraying black people negatively. All of this, of course, is by design, and is simply another example of a system operating as intended. The big question here is, why would Hollywood intentionally decide to whitewash black individuals? The truth is, in Hollywood, whitewashing, also known as race bending, is one of its many long-standing traditions. Historically, this practice was used to discriminate against actors, both male and female, of color. The most common examples of this in the past were on occasions when white actors dressed up in what is known as blackface, redface, and yellowface. While maybe not as controversial or blatant today, the practice of whitewashing still continues in Hollywood. Roles from scripts that clearly call for a person of color are given to white actors. Most recently, we saw this in Disney's The Lone Ranger, where Johnny Depp was cast to play the role of Tonto, the Lone Ranger's Native American sidekick. This relegates people of color to playing roles that support a white lead, or roles that are usually based in stereotypes. Not only is this practice offensive and hurtful to the careers of actors of color, but the imagery and message it sends out and the false reality it creates can be very damaging to the psyche of people of color. When retelling a biblical story, the effects of whitewashing are amplified. In the case of the movies Noah and Exodus, whitewashing continues a well-established practice of white sacralization through religious indoctrination. Throughout the history of European imperialism and colonialism, this type of indoctrination was present. Depictions of white-only biblical figures, including prophets, angels, Jesus, and so many others, were intentionally used to subconsciously indoctrinate the false belief of white divinity and therefore superiority upon the minds of the oppressed and conquered who happen to be people of color. By allowing Hollywood to hijack biblical stories and display them however they please, we as Christians have also allowed them to be cheapened. We often miss out on...
You see, family, we've been indoctrinated into a lie. We wasn't educated. And so that's why we have to do our research. Young people read the books. You know, you could chat GPT, whatever you need to do, because our whole story has been a lie which was told by our oppressor. From the name, from who we should call him, which is Yahshua or Yahuwah is God. Yahshua is the so-called Jesus. Jesus was not his name, and you have to call him by his name in order for the blessings to come pouring down. They purposely misguided us and misled us. And now, so family, if you like my video, like it. Share it if you agree. I really appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Bye. Thank you.